Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Hari Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bo Hari Bo Hari Bo Gaura Hari Bo Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada ki, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Sai Gaura Premanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today, since we are embarking on, some have already begun and some are beginning on the Prabhupada Marathon, so I thought I would read this verse, which is especially destined to all of you by Srila Prabhupada's mercy and the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is Adi Lila, 9th chapter, text number 41. Very famous verse. Bharat Bhumi Te Hoyila Manusya Janma Jar Janma Satka Kari Koro Para Upaka Bharat Bhumi Te Hoyila Manasa Janma Ja Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakar Bharat Bhumi Te Hoyila Manasa Janma Ja Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakar Bhumi Te Hoyila Manasa Janma Ja Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakar
Bharat Bhumi Te Hoyila Manusya Janma Jara
Bharat Bhumi Te Hoyila Manasa Janma Ja
साथ करी करो परोपकार
Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakar
भारत भूमि ते नैला मनुष्य जन्म यारा
Bharat Bhumi Te Hoyila Manasa Janma Ja
परी कर परोपकार
Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakar Vaishnavi Janma Sartaka Karikara Para Upakar Bharata of India, Bhumite, in the land. Hoyila has become. Manusha, human being. Janma, birth. Yara, anyone. Janma, such a birth. Sartaka, fulfillment. Kari, doing so. Kara, do. Para, others. Upakara, benefit. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatavarsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all people. Everyone could please repeat. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatavarsha, should make his life successful and work for the benefit of all other people. Purport. The magnanimity of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressed in this very important verse. Although he was born in Bengal, and Bengalis therefore have a special duty toward him, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is addressing not only the Bengalis, but all the inhabitants of India. And this land of India, it is in this land of India, that actual human civilization can be developed. Om Jnanatimandasya Kananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vichaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadah Mahyam Tadati Swapatantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Astyatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gauravandavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakapatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So I just stopped here because this very important everything that Srila Prabhupada said is very important. Sometimes we read through the whole purport and then we can't remember what we began with. So sometimes Srila Prabhupada would use this method of speaking a little bit, and when there's an important point, then try to emphasize. So the important point here, Srila Prabhupada says, the Bengalis have a special duty. How many Bengalis here? Yes. So you have, this is especially for you. You have to take this too much seriously. So, but Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, and this was in his time, half of the Bengalis are Vaishnavas and other half are worshipping Durga. He said, wherever you find a Bengali, you will find Durga worship. So even though some of them are Vaishnavas, they worship Durga. It's very popular. So, but Srila Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not provincial, meaning he did not simply focus on one group. Nowadays we have so many religions around the world, and they think, oh, this religion which has been given to us in a particular time, place, and circumstance is for everybody, and everything else is null and void. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was praying to Lord Jagannath, he said, Kintu Nikila Prodhyan Paramananda Punamritabdi. You are the transcendental ocean of brilliant, beautiful, universal truth. So, just we have Lord Jagannath on the altar here. So it means Lord of the universe. And when the Lord speaks, the instruction, although it may be directed to someone, it is actually for the benefit of everyone. So, but the specific instruction here, anyone who has taken birth in Bharat Varsha, has a very special duty. And of course, many thousands of years ago, this whole planet was Bharat Varsha. So actually, this may be for everyone. But Srila Prabhupada said specifically, anyone who's born in the land of India, you have a special compensation. Just like in the 10th canto, 1st chapter, text number 4, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says that even though India has become degraded, still, anytime you do a pandal program, thousands of people will come. Anytime you chant the holy name, people will chant. Just like the other day, I was in Hyderabad, and some big program that unfortunately started raining very hard, and it was outside. We all got wet. But the people stayed. And when we chanted Hari, although the program was for Shiva, when they were doing all the Shiva puja and everything, everybody was just kind of talking. And then when we chanted Hare Krishna, everybody began to chant. So this is Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And so it says here in India, actual civilization can be developed. Therefore, the devotees here, because we can see by the results of Sankirtan that we distribute more books here than anywhere else. Because, as Srila Prabhupada says here, this is the place of actual civilization. Of course, Srila Prabhupada also says that therefore, because the jewel of human life is especially prominent in India, therefore the devotees again have a special responsibility. Now let us go and see what that responsibility is. Human life is especially meant for God realization, as stated in Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Anyone who takes birth in the land of India, Bharat Varsha, has the special privilege of being able to take advantage of the instruction and guidance of the Vedic civilization. He automatically receives the basic principles of spiritual life for 99.9% of the Indian people, even simple village farmers and others who are neither educated nor sophisticated, believe in the transmigration of the soul, believe in past and future lives, believe in God, and naturally want to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his representative. So, of course, sometimes that's mixed in, a little Ganesh, a little, mix it all up. But still, everyone believes in Bhagavad Gita, except for maybe Arya Samaj. But practically everyone else, of course, talking about the Hindu pop, now there's a growing Christian population. Actually, it's growing in many places, especially in South India. And actually, our movement is the only movement that can counteract that growth. Hinduism, it's by itself, they're losing people because they don't know what they really are. There's so many references. Hinduism is just the remnants of different Vedic processes, all kind of put together in one. Vaishnavas are Hindus, the Shaktas are Hindus, the Shaivites are Hindus. So what is it? And so we give a clear understanding. And therefore this movement is meant to first of all, to purify India so that there's one, just as it says in Gita Mahatmya, one God, Krishna, one book, Bhagavad Gita, one mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is our duty to establish it, not because we believe we are the only religion or the only process, but we believe this is the highest understanding. Jesus Christ spoke to fishermen. Muhammad spoke to nomads. And Krishna spoke to Arjuna. And also Uddhava. Uddhava was so elevated. He's considered to be the most intimate friend of Krishna in Dwarka. Not like Sudam, Sridham, but almost on that level. And when he goes to Vrindavan, he begs to become a creeper so that the gopis can put their dust on his head. So elevated. So naturally what Krishna will reveal to him is much more than what Jesus Christ will reveal to a fisherman. Even in the Christian Bible, it says, I have so much more to teach you, but you have not the eyes to see nor the ears to hear. But along with any responsibility comes duty. Just like people, generally speaking, still in India, although less in the West nowadays, they take their family responsibility very seriously. So much so, sometimes there's no time to chant rounds. So family is very important. My work is very important. But the most important duty, Srila Prabhupada is saying here, is to practice Krishna consciousness. First of all, we have to practice. Then, after that, we can, actually teach it. But first, you have to practice. You can't give something you don't have. So here, Srila Prabhupada says, practically everyone, even I've met many atheists in India, and after I speak for a little while, they admit, yes, I believe. It's just vogue. It's just in vogue to be progressive. Progressive means you doubt everything. You doubt everything that's sacred, and you take up everything that's polluted. That's progress, according to modern civilization. And all these old religious ideas, just old taboos that must be broken, so that everyone can be free to go to hell. Free, you can go, no charge. So these ideas are the natural inheritance of a person born in India. India has many holy places of pilgrimage, such as Gaya, Benares, Mathura, Prayag, Vrindavan, Haridwar, Rameshwaram, and Jagannath Puri. And still, people go there by the hundreds and thousands. Although the present leaders of India are influencing the people not to believe in God, not to believe in the next life, and not to believe in a distinction between pious and impious life. And although they are teaching them how to drink wine, eat meat, and become supposedly civilized, people are nevertheless afraid of the four activities of sinful life, namely illicit sex, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. And wherever there is a religious festival, they gather together by the thousands. We have actually experienced of this. In 1976, we had a big pandal program for Srila Prabhupada here in Delhi. And I remember it was Ekadashi, and we were all sitting around chanting our rounds. And Prabhupada came and he said, "What is this? Where is the pandal?" We had to put it up ourselves. And so we said, "Prabhupada, we're chanting 25 rounds. It's Ekadashi." Prabhupada said, "Ekadashi means you do more service." So we all stopped. No. We had many ideas which Prabhupada corrected. So here, modern leaders, but by the Sankirtan movement, now the leaders in India are becoming more pious. They're actually promoting spiritual life, at least some of them, at least the Prime Minister. Let's hope that the next Prime Minister can be influenced in this. This is all due to the Sankirtan movement. This is due, anyone now in India, when I first came to India, nobody knew what ISKCON was. Just like Jayapataka Maharaj told me, once he was sitting in an airport, and this American man sat next to him. He said, so they introduced each other. So the man said, "What are you?" He said, "I'm a Hare Krishna." And he asked, "What are you?" He said, "I'm CIA." And so the American man said, "Yes, every time people see me, they say, 'Are you Hare Krishna?'" And Jayapataka Maharaj said, "Oh, yes, and every time they see us, they think we are CIA." So, but now it's everywhere. Everybody knows. This is due to Sankirtan. This is due, it's not due to having big temples. Big temples are nice, but it's due to book distribution. This is what is promoting Krishna consciousness. People are reading Prabhupada's books, and for the first time they read something that makes sense, that they can actually understand, that they can put into practice. Not just some mechanical external thing that you do chant some mantras, do some mudras, and then go home and watch television. And you think, I did my duty. I came, I offered some bananas and some bag of flour to the murti. Now I can go home and do what I want. In the beginning, in 1967, Srila Prabhupada said, just chant 16 rounds, and then you can do anything you want. But that was for time, place, and circumstance. It is not valid anymore. It may be valid for someone who is just coming. For them, they just chant and be happy. Prabhupada said that when people come first, we should encourage them to chant and experience the happiness of Krishna consciousness. Then you can introduce the rules and regulations. But even in India, many of the rules and regulations are natural. So all of this is coming. We're coming to the essence. Whenever the Krishna Consciousness movement holds a Sankirtan festival in a big city like Calcutta, Bombay, Madras, Ahmedabad, or Hyderabad, now they all have new names. Before I was here, it was Gurgaon. Now it's Gurugram. But this is not progress. Progress means that we understand the meaning of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam. Not that we can rename the cities and all of a sudden it's become, this is nationalism. We are into universalism. We are into Krishnaism. If you want to follow an ism, then follow Krishnaism, Vaishnavism. Sometimes we speak in English, but even though most people do not understand English, they nevertheless come to hear us. So this was Prabhupada's standard at that time. Everything was done in English because Prabhupada wanted to attract the more intelligent people. He knew that you can't start the movement with with villagers. They will not be able to promote Krishna consciousness, but they can take it up. But first we have to have, Prabhupada said, this movement, the temples, these temples are for training Brahmins. And so that the Brahmins can teach others. If there's no Brahmins, there's no head, then the body doesn't know where to go. When I was young, my father took me to a farm, and so I saw the cow for the first time. I was like 7 years old. And then I saw pigs. I'd never seen a pig before, never seen a... No, everyone in India has seen a pig, a cow, a donkey, And then they took me to the chickens. And unfortunately, the lady was cutting off the heads of the chickens. And the body would run around for about 2 minutes, and then it would die. So the point is, society without a head is like that, just running around looking for sense gratification. But sense gratification, if we have faith in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Dukkalayama Shashvatam. This world is miserable and temporary. And he says, happiness you can only get from Krishna consciousness. If we believe what Krishna says, then why are we pursuing fruitive activities and fruitive desires? Because we know they're temporary and they will lead to misery. Just like Krishna says, Nir Yoga Kshema Atmavan. So don't try to acquire something because it's very difficult, isn't it? You want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you spend so many years working so hard. And then after you acquire it, then it's more difficult to preserve it. Just like we built this temple, it's pretty new, but another 10 years, then you have to repair here, put the plaster here, and after 20 years, so many repairs, all the drainage, the pipes, and even more difficult is to give it up. Even this body is 75, 80, 90 years old, teeth are falling out, you can't walk, you can't eat, and still we're thinking, let me live some more time. Some of us know this. We've already started to. Some of you are not experiencing this so much. Therefore, I recommend every young devotee should spend at least 6 months taking care of an elderly Vaishnava. Then you will understand what is the nature. Take care of someone who's 80, 90 years old. Then you'll understand what is your destiny in this body. It's a very good lesson. It's like we go to school and learn so many things, but if you take care of an elderly person, even for a few days, it's so difficult when they can't. Sometimes they can't even go to the washroom. That really gives you an idea of how miserable this body is. And so when I went to that pandal here in Delhi in 1976, Prabhupada spoke in English. Practically no one understood English, but they were all sat through the whole lecture. And then when Prabhupada chanted Hare Krishna, they were all in bliss. And so that's what Srila Prabhupada is speaking about. Even when imitation incarnations of Godhead speak, people gather in thousands. For everyone who is born in the land of India has a natural spiritual inclination and is taught the basic principles of spiritual life. They merely need to be a little more educated in Vedic principles. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here says, Janma Sartaka Karikar Para Upakar. If an Indian is educated in Vedic principles, he is able to perform the most beneficial welfare activity for the entire world. So here comes the important part. I mean, everything is important, but the most important. At present, for want of Krishna consciousness or God consciousness, the entire world is in darkness, having been covered by the 4 principles of sinful life: meat eating, illicit sex, gambling, and intoxication. Therefore, there is a need for vigorous propaganda. to educate people to refrain from sinful activities. This will bring peace and prosperity. The rogues, thieves, and debauchees will naturally decrease in number, and all human society will be God conscious. So here Srila Prabhupada is saying, when do you become comfortable in Krishna consciousness? When do you sit back and say, all right, I did my duty? That's when. When all human society is God conscious, then we can sit back and go into samadhi, and chant 64 rounds. But until that, because that's the example that Prabhupada gave. In 1976, there was a big theater performance in New York. And afterwards, Srila Prabhupada came down. He was very happy to see that. And he came down the elevator, and he was getting a little sick. This was the beginning of his ultimate illness. And so the devotees, one devotee said, Prabhupada, I think you should maybe stop and take rest. You've done so much. And Prabhupada walked a few steps, and he said, he raised his cane. He said, I will die on the battlefield, just like Arjuna, ready to die on the battlefield. And then he put down, and he walked a few more steps, and he said, and you should do the same. So, Prabhupada made so much sacrifice. How can we just sit back and try to be comfortable? The practical effect of our spreading Krishna consciousness movement all over the world is that now the most degraded debauchees are becoming the most elevated saints. This is only one India's humble service to the world. Should be the only one. If all Indians had taken to this path, as advised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, India would have given a unique gift to the world, and thus India would have been glorified. I remember somebody gave me a book of Paramahansa Yogananda, and they had some pictures of him giving lectures in New York. There were hundreds of people. Almost all of them were Westerners, in suits and ties and elegant dresses, and he was speaking Mayavad philosophy. He was kind of nice. Prabhupada said he was almost a Vaishnava, because he grew up in Bengal. And what Vivekananda, he was very much a Mayavad, but people came to hear him. He was very famous. So Prabhupada's saying, if they would have given Krishna consciousness, actually there was one devotee that came to the U.S. in like 1955, Vaishnava. But there was no one promoting him, so he stayed for a little while and then went back, because he didn't know how to spread Krishna consciousness. He made a few devotees. Now, however, India is known as a poverty-stricken country. And whenever anyone from America or another opulent country goes to India, he sees many people lying by the footpaths for whom there are not even provisions for 2 meals a day. There are also, therefore, what do? Prasadam distribution. We should make sure that this image is not there. So Prabhupada's telling us, he's predicting here, what is our duty? There are also institutions collecting money from all parts of the world in the name of welfare activities for poverty-stricken people, but they are spending it for their own sense gratification. One time in Dallas, Texas, I was a Sankirtan leader, and so I thought maybe we can get some money if we approach the Red Cross. I went to the Red Cross and said, so if we use your name to collect, because at that time it was very difficult to distribute books, so devotees were collecting with different paraphernalia, and then they would buy the books and distribute them. So I said, so what would be the requirements? They said, oh, you just have to give us 10%, you can keep the rest. So what Prabhupada is saying, you can keep it. People were using it, the name, and keeping 90% for themselves with no benefit for anyone. So now on the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Krishna consciousness movement has been started, and people are benefiting from this movement. Therefore, it is now the duty of the leading man in India to consider the importance of this movement and train many Indians to go outside of India to preach this cult. So who are the leading men in India? All of you, leading men and women. Because the politicians are not doing this. Prabhupada was speaking that the big industrialists and all these should be training people. So when I finish the purport, we'll discuss how we can accomplish this. I have a plan. See if you like it. So you are the leading man. You're leading people back home, back to Godhead. Otherwise, andayar yatandayar upaniyamana. Otherwise, the blind leading the blind. And sometimes the blind that are following are seeing better than the blind that are leading. Manda sumanda matayo. In the age of Kali, everyone is spiritually lazy. And sumanda matayo. And those who are leading society are even more spiritually blind than the people, like Prabhupada says in the beginning of the purport. And there will be cooperation among the Indian people and among all the other people of the world, and the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will be fulfilled. So there are so many Indians everywhere. But what are they doing? Gujaratis have motels. South Indians are doctors. North Indians are business people. They're not spreading the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They're they're acquiring all the Western habits. When I first came to Krishna Consciousness, I was in the army in Panama. I met the devotees before that, 1971. But then I was drafted into the army, so the devotees sent me books, and I was distributing books while I was in the army to the soldiers and the people. And so when I finally finished, just like it says here, before I left, some devotees came to open a temple in Costa Rica, next country to the north. And they came because they knew there were Indians in Panama. So they introduced me to one family, and who now they're all initiated devotees. But at that time, they were all eating chicken and this and that. So I said, "Why are you doing this?" And he said, "Well, that's what they do here." And I said, "No, you're supposed to teach them what they should really do, not what they're doing, But Prabhupada wanted us to teach them, not that they teach us." So they took it a little seriously, and after some years, they gave up all their bad habits and got initiated. One family, and others have followed, and now, but still, so there are so many Indians already there. So all of you can go and preach to those Indians. This is what you're supposed to be doing. You can run your business, but after hours, you can go tell people about Krishna. Now, many of the business people who have come to our movement, they're putting Prabhupada's books in their medical office or their, motel. And so gradually it's happening, but it's not quick enough. The world is going to hell very quickly. And so Prabhupada said that many times. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will then be glorified all over the world, and people will naturally be happy, peaceful, and prosperous, not only in this life, but also in the next. For it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, anyone who understands Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will very easily get salvation or freedom from the repetition of birth and death, and go back home, back to Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu therefore requests every Indian to become a preacher of his cult and save the world from disastrous confusion. So that is your instruction from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. You have to go out. Everyone, I said last night to an audience, they weren't expecting this. So all of you must go immediately to some other country. Everybody pack your bags, and this is what Prabhupada is saying. But if we understand the internal meaning, it means we have to go out of Western consciousness. This consciousness which is being promoted here. And even the original culture of India, the Vedic culture, Sanatana Dharma, is being questioned and is being ridiculed. No, it is being ridiculed by many leaders, social reformers. Just like I mentioned yesterday, one lady wrote a letter that India will become prosperous if all the women work. No. And they just let the children go to hell, like in America. Children are becoming bewildered. There are homosexuals who go and teach the children in school when they're 8 or 9 years old, this is good. No, you should try it, this is good. And they're allowing that in the school. No, because the children are not being cared for. And therefore these atheistic teachers are promoting horrible ideas to the children. Imagine what they'll be like when they're 16, 17 years old, taking drugs, totally confused, don't know if they're a man or a woman or whatever they are. So this is all atheism, and now it's being embraced as something very wonderful. This is not only the duty of Indians, but the duty of everyone. And we are very happy that American and European boys and girls are seriously cooperating with this movement. One should know definitely that the best welfare activity for all human society is to awaken man's God consciousness or Krishna consciousness. Therefore, everyone should help this great movement. This is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 22nd chapter, verse 5, which is the next quoted verse. Etad janma sapalyam dehinami hade shu pranyar artaya dhyavacha shreya acharanam sada. Krishna spoke this verse when he saw the trees, and he said they are very magnanimous because they are giving to everyone. So we should be magnanimous like the trees. And doesn't matter how people insult us, what they do, we simply give them Krishna consciousness. So now is the Prabhupada Marathon. And so sometimes we think, oh, brahmachari should go out every day and distribute books. But I say, and I said this last night, the grihastas are the main preachers in this movement. They're the best preachers. Because if someone sees a brahmachari, they'll say, oh, that's not practical for me. They may, give them a book or something. But if a brahmachari preaches to them, no, he's fanatical, so I can't do this, or the sannyasi. But if a grihasta preaches to them, then they have no excuse. This person is working, I'm working. This person has children, I have children. This person, is chanting Hare Krishna, and I'm not chanting Hare Krishna. Therefore, I should chant Hare Krishna. Because grihastas can teach people. That doesn't mean the brahmacharis give up and just sit around in the temple. No, they will continue to preach. But the grihastas will be most effective. And also, Srila Prabhupada said we have to double book distribution every year. That will be very difficult to do if we only have brahmacharis going out. Then every brahmachari has to just do twice as many books each year. Or you have to make twice as many brahmacharis each year. And then how will we train them effectively? So, a solution, I've come up with a formula, I'm working on it still, that at least during this marathon, every grihasta should buy at least one box of books. One box of Bhagavad Gita, one box of small books. And every day you give at least one Bhagavad Gita and one book. You can give it away. You can pay for it and give it away. If you're not so expert at stopping people on the street and convincing them to take a book, just give it away. Give it away, but explain the importance of it. Then you get their address and you get their contact. If they give it, they may not give it, but most people will give it. And then you keep in touch with them. And after some time, you cultivate them. And when Bhadra Purnima comes, you convince them to take a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is a program for the more serious. Now there may be some people who don't have time. So I propose for those devotees, all year long, they distribute at least one book per week. That's only 52 books. Even the poorest devotees can afford 52 books per year. And if you can't afford it, we will make some arrangement. If somebody is so economically distraught that they can't buy 52 little books, we will find a sponsor. And then we find a sponsor. Then at least every serious devotee try to distribute one throughout the year, one Bhagavad Gita per day. Now, how many congregational devotees do we have? I'm talking about initiated devotees. One Bhagavad Gita per day. If you can't afford it, then the more wealthier devotees can sponsor a devotee and give them 365 Bhagavad Gita. And then you can give them a discount. If they can, I can only afford 50. Okay, you put in 50, I'll put in 315. And then so the wealthier devotees, you can do this. And then imagine we have thousands of congregational members. If each one of them distributes 365 books each year, how many millions and millions of books will go out? And the brahmacharis will still be going out and distributing so many books. No. But everyone, at least do one book per week. And then every one of those people that you distribute a book to, you ask for their contact information, and then you ask them afterwards, did you like the book? Did it help you? And someone, at least one person, probably many will say, oh yes. So please, if this was beneficial to you, join this effort that we are doing. You distribute one book per week. And you do the same thing, and then book distribution will more than double if we follow this formula. Because the only way we can increase things exponentially is through a formula like this. You cannot do it with a small group of brahmacharis. You cannot double book distribution every year. No, it will become very difficult. No. But if everyone, we all understand from this verse the importance, how Srila Prabhupada wanted his books to go out, how Srila Prabhupada called this Sankirtan movement following Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Brihat Mridanga. In our Prema Dwani prayers, we say, Brihat Mridanga ki jai. No. That means printing and distributing books. And of course, the most important thing is you have to read them. No. And we have to read every day Srila Prabhupada's books. Even if you can't come to the temple, and you have to encourage those devotees, because there's many thousands of devotees that belong to this temple, but they can't come every day. They can't even come on Sunday sometimes. But they're out there. And we have to be encouraging them to do these things. And then you have to follow up the leaders. Each brahmachari or each serious grihastha initiated devotee can take 15, 20 devotees who are distributing one book a day or one book a week, and you monitor them. How are you doing? Can I help you? How can we encourage? You can go out with so-and-so, and experience, learn a little more how to be, a little more insistent on taking these books. But if you're giving it away, of course, it's always good to ask for a donation. Because Prabhupada said, if you just give it, then people will just leave it somewhere. So at least ask for some little donation for one book a day. For one book a week, don't even ask for a donation. Just get their contact information. And this is the way I've conceived of that we can increase book distribution exponentially. Everybody in this movement. Just like I was speaking to the devotees yesterday about Jehovah's Witness. How many have heard of Jehovah's Witness? Well, they're a little bit in India, mostly in South India. It's a Christian group. And a very weird philosophy. Even for Christians, it's a strange philosophy. What to speak of for us? There's no philosophy, actually. It's just some sentiment. But they distribute over 100 million books per year. Last year, they did 180 million books and magazines. You know, they defeated us. And you read it, and it's just a little bit of social, something with God here and there, you know, and some strange idea of what spiritual life is. And they're doing this. They have 4.5 million people distributing every day. We don't even have that. And they're a little tiny, that's everybody, because everybody goes out for 2 hours a day, 2 times a week. Every member. And they have no philosophy. We have the highest philosophy on the planet. So how much more should we be wanting to give Krishna consciousness? Here we capture the mood, the sentiment of Srila Prabhupada, how important this is, how much, I encourage everyone to read this section, which begins with Atta eva amig agya dilun sabakare jahan tahan prema pala deha jaritari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, I am giving this order to everyone within the universe, every human being. You must distribute these fruits of love of God. And where are the fruits of love of God? Here they are. Here is the fruit. Here it is. So we distribute these fruits. This is the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Shuno Shuno Nityananda Shuno Haridas Sarvatra Maragya Koroho Prakash. Dear Nityananda Prabhu, dear Haridas, go everywhere. This is my order for everyone to Koroho Prakash. Take this Krishna consciousness movement, take this holy name and give it to everyone. No. Patte jari jari giha koro e biksha. Go and beg everyone. Don't beg for rice. Beg them, please take this holy name. Bhajo Krishna, Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Koro Krishna Shiksha. And you teach everyone. You chant the holy name. You speak the holy name. And you teach the teachings of Krishna. No. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Loho Krishna Nam. By chanting and by giving this, you give everyone, please take this holy name. Krishna Mata, Krishna Pita, Krishna Krishna Dhanapran. Tell everyone Krishna is your mother, Krishna is your real mother, Krishna is your real father, Krishna is your greatest treasure. No. So this was the instruction to Nityananda and Haridas. When Nityananda went out, he saw Jagaya Madan. No. And he said, these are the most degraded debauchees. I will go after them. Why? He went after them. And they chased away. They chased Haridas. And Nityananda, they were running away. And Haridas, just see what you've done. By your so-called magnanimity. Now they will get killed. And Nityananda said, you know what we're doing. And then they came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they told him what happened. He said, forget about those two. They don't deserve it. But Nityananda thought, if I can convert them to devotees, then Lord Chaitanya's fame he will become the most famous all over the world. And even Narottam Das Thakur says, Tara Sakshat Jagai Madai. Here is the example. So, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has made everything very easy for us because we don't have the potency of Nityananda. So he has put debauchees and drunkards everywhere, so that we can go and help them come back home, back to Godhead. Now they're everywhere. No, we don't have to look very hard. Just walk out the door, and there they are. And so, materialists. So this is so wonderful. And if we do this, if everyone is involved in the Sankirtan movement, because if you're not participating in the Sankirtan movement, you will not make spiritual advancement very quickly. Or you will begin to imagine it. Oh, just chant Gopi Gita and chant a little Maha Mantra and go home and be comfortable. No, that's not. Gopi Gita is very elevated. I know they chant that in northern India and during Kartik. But we should chant Mahamantra, and then become qualified to chant Gopi Gita after maybe 25, 30 years or more. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, for 20 years you practice Anartha Nivritti. Then if you're very serious, every day, Anartha Nivritti every day, then after 20 years you can do Artha Pravritti, which means you can start to feel a little touch of Raga Bhakti. Little touch, little drop. Sometimes we think after 4 or 5 years, no, I want Raganuga. No. But our idea of Raganuga is very different from Rupa Goswami's idea. Our idea is I can do what I want. But that's not what Raganuga is. Raganuga means I do the same sadhana as I did before, but internally I'm experiencing Krishna consciousness. And what am I experiencing? I'm experiencing manashunyata, freedom from pride. Avyarta kalatvam, I don't waste one moment. Virakti, detachment from material things. Kshantir, forgiveness and tolerance. These things will naturally happen when Raganuga becomes. Then Namagana Sada Ruchi, I taste for the holy name. I can't stop chanting. Srila Prabhupada said, I'm sorry I'm going a little over time, but this is important. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, one devotee asked Prabhupada, how can I chant 16 rounds with quality? And Prabhupada said, 16 rounds means no quality. You have minimum. Prabhupada said, quality means you cannot stop chanting. So Namaganas Ruchi means I have so much taste for the holy name, I have to force myself to stop to do some other service. It's so difficult for me to stop. Sometimes for us it's very difficult to start. And now we have to make sure now it's difficult to stop. And Ashabandha, everywhere I see hope, Vishwapurnam Sukhayate, Prabodhananda Saraswati. Everywhere I see hope, happiness, I see Krishna manifested. This is what happens when you're actually experiencing raga. Everything is so positive. Samutkanta. I only see beauty everywhere. And then Mathura Vasali. Then I want to live in Mathura, Guna Akyante, that I have more and more attraction to hear about Krishna's qualities and his pastimes. So this is what happens when we come to the Raganuga stage. Not that, I like Raganuga, I can do what I want. I don't have to get up for Mangalarti. That's right. You don't have to get up because you'll already be up. You'll be up from 1 o'clock, chanting the holy name. And I'll conclude with this. That when I first came to India in 1976, because that's when I got out of the army. So we went to Mayapur, and then after the Mayapur festival, we went to Kolkata. But of course, that was the only place there was 3 Albert Street, and there's only one room, and that's where Prabhupada stayed. And the sannyasis stayed up in the roof. There's a little attic up there. And everybody else stayed on the lake. So I was a little sick, and I was sitting there. I had to go to the bathroom 4 or 5 times a day. How am I going to do that on the lake? So I was sitting there. One man came and he said, you need a place to stay? Yes, come. And he took me. So I went to his house. He gave us a car, a servant, everything. I was just a new devotee. I was with one other senior devotee. And so in the morning I heard, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. I was chanting my japa, so I went. And right next door was Bagh Bazar Temple, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, the Gaudiya Math Temple. So I went in there, I saw one man chanting, went to the arti, came out. Next day I went, No, because it was too far to get to the temple for Mangalarti. We just went for the class. And so then I saw the same man chanting. Then the next day I went at just before 3 and I see this man chanting. So I said, so you come every day? Yes. I am your god brother of your Guru Maharaj. Oh, I've offered obeisances. He said, yes, I come every day at 1 o'clock. I chant my 64 rounds, then I go to work. So this is what it means when you actually have a taste for the holy name, that you can't stop. So don't think Raganuga means something that some conception in the mind. But this will come. All these things will happen by Krishna's grace if we're very serious. But to get that seriousness, you must be attached to the Sankirtan movement. Either you distribute 1 book a week, or if you're too busy, then you sponsor someone. You give them the books. If I'm so busy earning so much money, I can sponsor 10 people. No. But still, who can not give 1 book a week? No. You just see someone, give them the book and say, can I have your cell number? I just want to see what your reaction to the book was. Or you take my number, you tell me. No? And if we do this, I can guarantee we can flood Delhi and all of India and all the world with Srila Prabhupada's books. And then Prabhupada will be happy. So these are some thoughts on this verse and some thoughts on how we can expand book distribution, how we can all be part of the Sankirtan movement. Actually, Srila Prabhupada has revived the Sankirtan movement as it existed at the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The first time. This is the first time when so many gurus are initiating in the same movement. And therefore we should not think, oh, I'll only follow my guru. We should have the mood of Mahaprabhu. We take shiksha and instruction from anyone and everyone. It's one big movement to glorify Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not that we have disciples of so-and-so here, disciples of so-and-so there, and they're segregated and they only relate to their god brothers or their guru. No. We have to make this movement as Srila Prabhupada wanted. This is the revival of the movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Bhakti Vinod Thakur revived it philosophically. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur revived it systematically, and Srila Prabhupada revived it universally. So, and it's our duty to expand more and more. That's our legacy that we got from Srila Prabhupada. Not that I learned to chant Hare Krishna and go off in my corner and try to imitate Haridas Thakur. So anyway, these are some thoughts. Thank you all very much for your kind attention. Any question or comment?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Today, some lecture made point of why human life is meant for realization and supreme personality Godhead Krishna and control power, supreme power and supreme controller in the world today. Why?
Hare Krishna.
I am a Bengali.
Yes.
Initially, I sit deeply to Damodar.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Any question?
Everyone can follow his example.
Maharaj, everyone is now looking forward to take boxes. That's why they are not asking. Yes.
Maharaj, I'm assuming that the Prophet's witnesses is a compulsory preaching. So what about that announcement?
Well, we can learn from everyone, and we can learn from their missionary spirit. The Jehovah's Witness, the Mormons, They will not teach us philosophy, but they'll teach us, how we can actually expand Krishna consciousness. So this is a devotee. This is the meaning of humility. Pride means I think I know better than everyone, and humility thinks I know less. One thinks I know less than everyone. And we're always ready to absorb, to take something, just like the story of the Avaduta Brahman. He learned from the dog. He learned from the prostitute. He learned from everyone. He learned something from every living entity. Narada Muni, Narada Muni says that it is the duty of everyone to go and see the suffering condition of every living entity and understand this is the destiny of one who remains under the modes of nature. And if we do that, you see a cockroach, you see a fly. No one is aspiring to be a fly. I don't think many of us want that. Of course, in the West, some people, they do aspire to be a dog. They think dogs have a very nice life. Not Indian dogs, but Western dogs. Indian dogs don't have such a good life. But they all look the same. You ever notice that? Almost all the Indian dogs, they look the same. They're just different colors. Kind of look all the same. So actually we should see, we see the people. This increases our compassion. But what really increases compassion, according to Kapila Dev, titiksha karunika. Before you can feel compassion, titiksha, you have to be tolerant. You have to be able to really understand, how people are suffering and tolerate the difficulty in dealing with people who are so illusioned by Maya, so illusioned by the modes of nature. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
I am a finance expert, and I have been doing research on India, people disrespect finance. So I started to propagate the theory. The reason that I have come to ISKCON has been 3 or 4 days, that people disrespect the highest consciousness of finance, that Lakshmi. And then when I further researched, I came to know that a more powerful version of Lakshmi was Radha. So I started to research on Radharani. Then slowly I came to ISKCON. And then I started to research that the teacher of Krishna, as per me and how much I've researched, is Radha. And it's very difficult to understand Radha. So I'm struggling to understand what could be the books that could lead me to her. Because how much I've seen people in India or abroad, that the first thing in the world that I've seen as per my research, people don't study the budgets of their transactions. So how I came to know that people don't respect Lakshmi. And Lakshmi is being given, all the time endurance to the people of the world, from gold reserves to fiat currency to cryptocurrency. And right now, I'm giving lectures on common finance. So I'm also giving lecture that you can improve your finance when you understand Lakshmi or the systems of Radha. So I have come to ISKCON to seek how can I learn about Radha and actually what Radha is teaching, because my real seeking is I'm trying to find where did I find what Radha has taught.
Yes. In 1977, Srila Prabhupada wrote a letter to all the temples, and he said, you should have available, of course temples were smaller, it would be much bigger in these temples. You should have 20 plates of prasadam ready for anyone who comes. A small plate. He said, Prabhupada said, a sabji, a savory like pakora, samosa, and sweet. And give that to everyone who comes to the temple. And then Prabhupada said, do not think this will be any financial burden. Radharani is the supreme goddess of fortune. So how can we understand Radha? By giving Krishna consciousness, because she is the original source of giving Krishna consciousness to everyone. And she manifests that Shakti because her mood has entered Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So if we want to understand Srimati Radharani, we should serve Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and serving this movement. Therefore, what we're talking about now is the pathway to really understand Srimati Radharani. She is so desirous because she knows that Krishna wants, all of us are expansions of Krishna. We're all Vipinamsa. We're separate expansions of Krishna. So Krishna wants all of us to enter into pure devotional service. And therefore Srimati Radharani is very keen to make this happen. So that's how we can understand her. All right.